So my name is Craig Lothian. I'm a local investor. I used to be a lawyer, but I've been now in the business world for 20 plus years through a variety of companies, LEX Capital Corp being one of them. And I came into this building for the first time in, I think it was March or April of 2019. There was an art show going on here at the time, and my wife probably dragged me to that. I think she did. She bought a painting. I ended up buying a building or buying into the company that owned the building. And, just really fell in love with the space. It's 1,700 square foot church, 107 years old, with vaulted ceilings that look almost the same today as the day they were built.
It was a piece of property in Regina that was almost forgotten about. This property was abandoned for 5 years and likely was going to fall over in 5 more years. And so what we had done is we walked in with a blank slate of what this building could be.
Right from the beginning, we were trying to figure out how we can put this whole thing together. And we had a very particular vision. We knew that if we could pull this off, it would just be transformative for this area, because this building is really the last building in this location that hasn't been renovated yet or hasn't been developed. So it needed it, and we knew we could do it.
The reason why we got involved in this was because we live in the area. We're born and raised in Regina. The architecture, the character, the charm, the trades that kind of came through here 100 and some years ago was spectacular.
It had so much promise, but you could also see it needed TLC, and it probably needed a lot of capital. And that's what I thought we could bring was some capital, that much needed capital to be able to work on bringing this building back to its original glory.
From the first time I walked through the chapel doors and looked up at the ceiling, literally took my breath away. I said, wow. And I knew from that moment on I had to figure out a way to be a part of this project. And as I walked through the space more, I just fell more and more in love with it. And I knew it was going to be a labor of love.
In terms of my interest in the building, I've lived in Regina since 1989. I didn't even really know this building existed. I'd driven by it thousands of times. But the first time you saw it, you looked at it and you went, wow, this is incredible. Why haven't I been in this before? And then you hear the story that it was decommissioned as a church, and then it was shut down for a number of years before my current partners came in and bought it. And it just seemed like it was screaming out for restoration so that the public could enjoy it again. And I think, from a personal perspective, we've donated money to other capital projects, new builds in the city, hospitals, universities, those kind of things. But we really hadn't done anything to restore something that is just a historic landmark in the city, but one that no one got a chance to come into, unless, I guess if you remember the Anglican Church for a number of years, you could have came in, but apart from that, it was kind of closed to the public, and then it was shut down while it was being demolished almost, one brick at a time, one drop of water at a time.
We were pretty naive to the situation on how long this was going to take, because the reality is that this building runs under its own architectural controls that date back to 1914 from Jim Mawson. And so we don't operate under architectural controls like another neighborhood in Regina would. We operate under our own architectural controls, which adds layers to protecting the heritage value of this building. But we did everything that we could to work with the city of Regina to make sure that this building stood for another 105 years.
And I had a bit of a personal attachment. I knew that it was an Anglican church after looking into it a bit. Started construction in 1913, finished sometime in 1914. My grandmother actually was born in 1913. She was a member of the Anglican Church her whole life. She lived to be 102 years old and was a devout Christian and member of that church till the very end. Donated some money to the church in her will. So the Anglican Church, although I was never brought up in the Anglican Church, has a bit of a family connection for me. And just that year that, she seemed at 102 pretty old, so this is the same age, and this building continues to live on, and hopefully now it'll be around for another 100 years. And we think that's really important.
So we've been in construction for 11 months now, and the Lean construction team has been doing the majority of the work. And it's been I wouldn't say a seamless process, because once you open up walls to things that were built 105 years ago, there are the odd surprises, but luckily the bones of this building have been very well maintained, very well built originally, and so now we are just basically bringing new technology and new building standards to an old building to make sure that this thing stands.
The beauty of the church, in addition to just the age, is it's just a huge space. 1,733 square feet, no center walls or beams, 30-plus foot vaulted ceilings that look as good today as the day they were built, maybe even better with the aging, that kind of a patina that the varnish gets over time. It's a spectacular space, and we're just now looking for something to put in here to bring it back to life. The only thing that's missing is people. We need people in here. We need to hear laughter. We need to hear music playing and people having fun again. And especially now in COVID, we all need to have fun again.